Welcome back again to Joe Stunner Boxing. There was a big light heavyweight fight on at the weekend between the champion, WBA light heavyweight champion Dmitrii Bivol and the challenger Gilberto Ramirez, Zurdo as he's called. Now, of course, we know that Bivol is coming off the victory over Canelo. Canelo was never in any shape or form a light heavyweight. Much shorter man, was he 5'7", 5'7.5", something like that. Bivol 6 foot tall, orthodox fighter, clearly beat Canelo, and he did so in a manner which is sort of typical of his whole career, because he is an extremely disciplined, very orthodox fighter. I don't just mean in his stance, but in his the way he's a textbook fighter, if you like. Seems happy at any point in the ring, whether it's on the ropes, center, likes to counter punch, can be a little bit precise. Well, precision with punches, of course, is good, but a little bit too conservative with his output, perhaps looking a little bit too much to land precise punches. Hasn't scored a knockout or a stoppage for 4.5 years. That was against Sullivan Barrera. And since then, he has had, I think it's six fights that have gone the distance, maybe 7 fights that have gone the distance, a 12-round distance. So he can navigate that 12-round distance very, very well using, like I say, textbook skills, which he does everything very well. There isn't one aspect of his game that sort of springs out and hits you. Good ring generalship, high ring IQ. You've seen him fight, Bivol, I'm sure. You don't need me to break it down too much, but a very, very skillful fighter. Now, against people like Joe Smith Jr., who he beat on points, Jean Pascal was another one, Isaac Chilemba, he's kind of controlled them without too much bother. He's won most of the rounds. But there's one fight where I thought it was quite revealing. Maybe he had a bad day at the office, I don't know. But that was Craig Richards. And Craig Richards came in as a rank underdog and actually gave him a very good fight. And two of the judges, I think, had it 115, 130, 115, 114, which is remarkably close. The other one had it like 118, 110, which again, that's way too wide. I thought Bivol beat Richards, but I think it was quite telling that against a guy who he probably, even just subconsciously, found it difficult to get up for. His mind didn't seem on his work, and Richards seemed pumped and did very well. And I think Bivol probably did take him lightly. But of course, muscle memory gets you through these things sometimes, where you're so well schooled that you just let your hands go, and it's almost like driving a car. You drive from A to B, and you can't even remember changing gear or stopping. You do it almost subconsciously. That was the impression I got with that performance, that Bivol was really going through the motions, if you can ever go through the motions in a boxing ring. But I don't think he'll be able to do that against Gilberto Ramirez, because I think Gilberto Ramirez is a very, very live underdog. I only make this a 60-40 fight for Bivol. Ramirez is 6'2.5", so he's 2.5 inches taller than Bivol. He's 31, I think Bivol's 33, 31, 32, 33. So they're similar age. And Ramirez, a former super middleweight champ, God knows how he made super middleweight, because he's not just tall, he's kind of big with it. And it's not fat, It certainly wasn't fat at super middleweight. Definitely not. It's not fat at light heavy either. He's a big, powerful unit with a good chin, comes forward, 44 wins and no defeats, 30 KOs. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on this guy because, well, maybe hardcore boxing fans aren't, but I think a lot of people are saying Ramirez against Bivol. Nah, it'd be a points decision for Bivol. Well, Sullivan Barrera was Bivol's last stoppage victim, and that was, he stopped him in the 12th round 4.5 years ago. And in 2021, Ramirez beat Barrera in 4 rounds, knocked him out in 4 rounds, and he was down, I think, in the 3rd round and the 4th round, I think twice in the 4th round. and he's beaten Unienski Gonzalez, stopped him in 10, and he beat Dmitrii Bivol last time out, 4-round stoppage. The Bivol fight was earlier this year in May, so it's not like he's been inactive. He's obviously had his training camps, and he stopped Tommy Carpence in 4 rounds. That was the retirement. The fight that, or the 2 fights really, that gave him the most problems, Zurdo I'm talking about, is Jesse Hart. And Jesse Hart did very well in 2 fights with Ramirez down at super middle. He lost on points twice. I think at least one of them was a majority decision. And that was for the WBO, like I say, the WBO super middleweight title. Now, Hart is a good fighter. Came in as an underdog against Ramirez, and for 2 fights gave him hell, and actually disputes at least one of those decisions. I think probably, I mean, I have to say it was maybe the weight was a problem for Zurdo at the time, which is why Hart was able to kind of bully him at times and put the heat on him, put the pressure on him. But he didn't have everything his own way. Those 2 fights were in 2017. I think the rematch was the following year, 2018. So we're going back a bit. But since he's moved to light heavy, I think Zurdo has shown a lot more power, a lot more strength. He's always had a good engine. Moving forwards, he's a threat. Good chin. And I think the only way he's going to beat Bivol is if he puts heat on him and pressures him and makes Bivol work at an uncomfortable pace. Kind of like Canelo was doing at the very end of their fight. Because Canelo, when he put the pressure on Bivol, let his hands go, there were little pockets of activity from Canelo, although Canelo clearly lost that fight. And I think we're going to see much more of that from Ramirez, probably from the word go. He's going to try to take Bivol out of his comfort zone, make him punch when he doesn't want to punch. He'll try and probably keep him on the ropes, I would imagine. Once he gets there, he'll let both hands go. I see this as a very difficult fight for Bivol. I think Bivol's got to be on his A game, because this is going to be 12 rounds of where he's going to have to walk through fire, I think. I think Ramirez will be up for this fight. And as difficult as it is, and bearing in mind that you should always, I always, if I'm making a prediction, assume that both fighters are going to be on their A game. I don't think, you can sort of make predictions for a guy. I suppose you can make predictions for a guy taking someone lightly. But I always think if you're making a prediction, assume that both fighters are going to be at their optimum levels of skill. I think this will be a very, very difficult fight for Bivol, but I do think he will win it on points. I was on Boxing Beats and Rhymes live, and there were a few of us on the panel, and I said that maybe 116, 112. Yeah, that's possible, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was like a 115, 113 win for Bivol. That sort of, very close, very tough fight. I just think, this is a skills thing. I think Bivol has superior skills, which is not to say that Ramirez is bad. He isn't, certainly isn't. But I just think that probably Bivol's experience and that discipline, that Eastern European discipline that he has, that self-belief. He's extremely mentally strong, Bivol. Never ever, even under pressure, he doesn't look bothered. I think he wins this fight, edges home on points against a very, very worthy challenger. So I don't know. What do you think? You guys leave your comments below. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? If you think I'm wrong, please let me know. I like reading your comments. And thank you again for subscribing. If you're new, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It's free of charge. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. We will speak again soon. Meanwhile, have a good day. Bye-bye for now.